Welcome to Tesla, ladies and gentlemen. All right, man, I appreciate you guys very much for stopping by. So as you guys may know, Alireza Firouzja did secure the last and final spot in the 2024 candidates tournament. So he did just slightly edge out Wesley. So some people, they're not really too happy with kind of the way he did it. But I mean, if it's legal and he kind of hooked it up, then he was able to get himself in there, man. So maybe Magnus Carlsen will come back and play the World Championship if he wins. But anyways, man, I got a game from the Speed Chess Championship that these guys played with each other. This is game number 16 of the Blitz section. And it is a very exciting up and down game, so stick around for it. But all of my people that are coming from the Philippines, I will say Merming Salamat. Anybody who is coming from France, I will say Merci beaucoup. Anybody who is coming up from Iran, I will say Haile Mamnoon. And if you guys are ready to go, son, let's take a look and see what we got for this game. So we got the move E4. We got C5, so we do start off with the Sicilian defense. And you know how I'm always talking about. Knight goes to F3, and that's like by far the most common way you're going to see it played. We do not see that in this game. We actually see the Alapin variation of the Sicilian defense. And it's basically kind of mirroring what black is wanting to do. Black is definitely wanting to trade one of their wing pawns for a white central pawn. So basically white is like, hey, bro, I'm going to see you and I'm going to raise you. We'll both try to do the same thing. We do see knight to F6 attacking the pawn on E4. Since you do not have a knight to C3, which is, kind of common in some of the variations, protecting that E4 pawn, it is kind of liable. It is kind of a target. So we do see the move E5 protecting. We got knight to D5. We got knight to F3. So this is all very standard stuff by this point. We got knight to C6. We do see the move D4, pawn takes D4, and then pawn takes D4. And you see that idea that I was talking about before. Basically, the only thing that each side has done is open their C file. But they do still have both of their central pawns. The only thing in this position is black is definitely kind of suffocating in this situation because white has their pawns so far advanced in the center of the board. So that is why we see the move D6. We see bishop going to C4. We got knight back to B6 attacking the lonely bishop. So we have to reposition it to B5. We do see bishop to D7. We got castles by white. Pawn takes by black. We got bishop taking C6, bishop taking C6, and then we do see knight taking E5. And this is actually kind of nice because, I mean, if you are white, you've given up one of your bishops for a black knight. So it's pretty favorable for you to want to kind of get your bishop back. And there really isn't a whole lot of places that this bishop can go. You might think, hey, man, I'll go bishop to B5 and attack this rook, but obviously we're not doing that. So disregard that move. If we do see bishop to B5, I mean, rook can easily come to E1, or you actually have a sacrifice here on F7, just gaining this bishop back. So we do see the move bishop to D5 in this situation. We have knight goes to C3. And like I said, I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of great places for you to go to try to like kind of save this bishop. So, I mean, you're going to have to part with it at some point. So we do see knight to C3. We got G6. We see the move A4. Basically white is like, bro, I'm going to try to push all your pieces around, man. I don't like where your knight is. It's a little oddly placed, but I mean, it's not the worst ever. And so we're just trying to, use what we got to gain a little tempi on black. So we do see the move A5, just shutting all that stuff down. We do see the move queen to E2. And then we actually see in the position, rook goes to C8. And this is what Firouzja plays. And I will explain it in just a second. But Firouzja, in this specific situation, he's kind of seeing ghosts a little bit. And I'll explain what I mean in a little bit. What we actually see in the game is queen to B5 with check. We do see bishop going to C6, knight taking C6, pawn taking C6. And then we have a very accurate move, and that is queen to E5. Now, remember this position. I'm going to come back to this position in a second. But like I said, we did see the move queen to E2. And one of the ghosts that I was mentioning that Firouzja probably saw when he did his calculation, they are playing a blitz game, so they're not calculating really far, there is a kind of a variation where if you go bishop to G7, you see queen to B5. And if you do something weird, kind of like king to F8, you know, you would be looking at a queen taking here, and then you would be putting, so I'll just put it on the board if you had this. This is absolutely not the way that you're going to play this, but this is a possibility of something going on, where if you do see that, you do have a possibility of going like so, and you kind of can move the king anywhere. You see that you have forks going on, and then once you land on this square, you have more forks coming on. So, I mean, that is probably something that Firouzja saw. He was like, man, I don't even want any of that, but there definitely was a better way to play that. But like I said, we did get into this position here. You know, you have two options if you're Wesley So. Well, actually, a couple of options. You can go queen to a6, just getting yourself out of danger. You can also take this pawn here, or you can do what he actually did in the game, and that was queen to e5. So one thing you understand if you are white is that this pawn on a5 is literally not going anywhere. But what you have the ability to do is try to put a threat onto black, because you are trying to attack an undefended piece, but you're also looking to ruin black's structure or their ability to just simply castle. So that is why we see queen to e5 first, asking a gigantic question to this rook, like what does it want to do? I mean, you have like rook to g8 type stuff, which would ruin castling for black, or you have f6, which is what we see in the game. And you see that black has now had to make a somewhat of a concession in their position. So we got f6, we got queen going to a5. And I mean, it's not super ideal that you have this pawn, you know, on f6. You do completely open this light square diagonal, and you don't have a light square bishop. We see the move e5, and this is just crazy bold play by Firouzja, because he's like, bro, you know what? I don't even care that my king is in the center of the board, homie. I'm going to open it up anyway. And because of that, e5 is the novelty of the game. You know, Firouzja probably is the only person on the planet that's going to be like, bro, I don't even care about none of that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and go e5. We do see queen going up to a6. There was a possibility of the white queen being trapped in that position. So that is why you had to be very careful and make sure that you go something like queen to a6 so that you do have some retreat ability. We do see pawn taking d4. And then we actually see knight to e4 in the position. The rook to e1 definitely was another possibility, or rook to d1. But, you know, let's go ahead and get our knight out of dodge. So we got knight to e4. We got bishop down to e7. And this is a position that it does allow Wesley So to continue the idea from earlier as far as trying to make sure black cannot castle. And then we do see bishop to h6. And Wesley So was like, bro, I just think it's better for you not to castle. That's my opinion, man. Take it to the bank. So we do see king going to f7, and we're possibly, as black, thinking about some type of like an artificial castle situation, or castling by hand, as they say, where you basically move the king down to f7 and then move the rook over either to here or here, and then you tuck the king back where it would be sitting if you did castle. We got the move a5, we got knight going to d5, and then we do have a queen going to c4, and we got two things. We are pinning this knight down kind of on a light tip to the king. But, I mean, we're moving out of the way of this pawn. So it's like, run, Forrest, run. You guys saw the movie, Forrest Gump. Anyways, this pawn is kind of rolling, homie. We do see the move c5. We got a6. And Firouzja says, hey, man, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trap your bishop, homie. And Wesley So's like, bro, I don't even like that bishop anyway, man. Like, you know, it wasn't even my best friend growing up anyway. So go ahead and take it if you want to. We do see the move a7, and I mean, this pawn is knocking on the door, man. He like, hey, man, what y'all doing in there? I'm hungry, man. I want to get some tacos or something, right? So we do see king going down to g6, you know, grabbing this bishop. The bishop's like, bro, I'm going to go down swinging. Bishop takes g5. We got pawn taking g5, and then we do see rook to a6. Check, homie. We definitely do have an idea of doubling these rooks, which is what we actually see in the game. And we're just trying to put every little bit of oomph behind this pawn. Because like I said, I mean, you know, we invited this pawn to dinner, man. So, you know, happy holidays to you. We do see king going back to g7. We see rook f to a1. Like I said, just putting as much power behind this, you know, pawn as possible. And we actually in the game see rook to a8. There was a slightly better way to defend, and it is by making the move knight to c7. Not only does knight to c7 definitely hold this a8 square, it also does place a little bit of an attack on the rook, which isn't crazy major. The rook can literally move wherever it wants to, and we're kind of good to go. But, you know, this is definitely not a bad way. You have to absolutely do something about this pawn. You cannot You know, you cannot let it just continue to run. We do see knight taking c5, bishop takes c5. We do see queen taking c5. We got rook over to e8. And then we have the cool and calm and collected move by Wesley So, where he's like, bro, you know what? I don't even care about none of that stuff you talking about. G3. Man, it's like you got to be cool as a cucumber, bro, to make this move, man, because, like, I mean, you got you got some. Yeah, I mean, you got some threats on the board, man. You're down a piece, so it's like, man, to make the move G3, I mean, yes, you get that you have to create some luft, but it's like, man. Anyways, so I give it to you, bro. Anyway, we do see the move going back knight to f6. You were going to be losing a pawn at some point in this variation. I mean, you got the queen, you know, attacking this pawn through the knight. You got this pawn, attacked. It's kind of one of the best things to do to move knight to f6 because you really kind of want to protect your only like really strong pawn in the position, which is going to be this pawn right here. So this pawn right here is definitely less valuable than this central pawn. We do see queen taking on g5. We got king going over to f7. And then we have actually reached a point in the game that if you don't want to pause the video and guess this move, I honestly do not think anybody, unless you saw the game, well, no, even if you didn't see the game, it's actually not on the radar. It doesn't get played in the game. If you want to pause the video and guess what white can do here, go ahead and do so. Okay, like I said, I honestly do not believe one single... If I get 1 million views on this video, I honestly don't even think anybody's going to guess this move because this definitely wouldn't have been a move I would have guessed at all. The move that I'm looking for in the position, like I said, that wasn't played in the game is the move rook 1 to a5. I know you guys out there are like, well, hold on a second, hold on. Why in the world would I vacate my back rank, allow a rook to e1, or allow this pawn to just keep pushing? This doesn't make any sense. Well, this is the thing. If you are Wesley So, you should be thinking of the situation where this pawn is actually very, very hard to hold because you are down a piece. And at some point, you are going to have to make the move king to g2. So you really, really want to prevent this check right here, which would actually force the trade of queens and be much better for black. And also, you do kind of, in a longer term, you know, rook to f5 can put a lot of pressure on this knight right here. So it's a double purpose move, but like I said, you have to be completely fearless and you don't care about your bank rank at all. You don't care about these checks and stuff, which, I mean, I think every single player on this earth is going to care about that. So that is why even Wesley So himself didn't play that move. He's like, man, I ain't playing that, bro. But he probably considered it. Anyways, in the position, we actually saw king to f7, but we did see the very human move, queen to f5. The only thing about this move is it really doesn't specifically threaten anything. And time is very, very precious if you have given away a piece. So you have to play as actively as humanly possible. You guys hear me talk about that all the time. We do see the move d3. We got rook over to d1. We have d2. And this is exactly if you have a pass pawn in the position that you want. You are immobilizing, white's rook. So it's almost like they're now down 2 pieces. And you guessed it, rook to e1 is absolutely on the menu for sure. And you are going to have to go that king to g2 I was talking about. But we actually do not see any of that in the game. We see the move h4. Wesley So completely just bypasses all of that. And yes, it is possible. And Firouzja actually misses his opportunity and he goes queen to d4. Both of these players literally have only a few seconds left on their clock. So it makes sense how they're like completely missing these moves. But if we did see after h4, if we did see the move rook to e1, this would be absolutely completely winning. After we see that, you would be looking at king to g2 or king to h2, whatever you want to do. And then the rook does take, and now you are down 2 entire pieces. And this is absolutely what Firouzja really had in the position, but it's showing that he had 2 seconds left at this point. So, I mean, he's playing like pre-moves only. Anyways, like I said, we saw h4. We did see the move queen to d4. And then we do see rook taking on d2. And this does allow a really nice tactic of deflecting this queen away from the knight on f6. We got queen taking d2. And then we do see rook taking f6 with check. We got king going back to g8. We got rook to f7. And I mean, this is kind of a mate threat, homie. Do you see it too? Queen to h7 checkmate, bro. We cannot allow that. So, Firouzja doesn't allow it. He says, bro, you know what? I got queen to e1 with check. The king sides up to, we got it on h2. And then the queen does come to e4. And absolutely, if you are black, you do want to trade these queens. If you can get these queens off the board, you literally just have 2 rooks against 1 rook. and that shouldn't be too hard of a game to win. We do see queen going up to f6. We got queen going up to g6. It's like, hey, man, I insist. Let me trade. And you really don't have anything else that you can do because you can't retreat the queen anywhere because this rook is also hit twice with these two. So you got to do something here. So we do see queen taking g6, pawn taking g6. But white is not out of there. They definitely have some play in this position, believe it or not. We do see rook going over to b7. We got rook over to f8, attacking this pawn on f2. We do see the move b4, and it's like, hold on. b4? Like, why am I playing a random pawn move? Well, there is a rhyme and a reason behind this move. It might seem like, hey, man, why am I just dropping check? Like, why am I just letting, like, whatever it wants to go on? Well, the thing about it is this. If you understand playing in games and you understand how connected passed pawns play against a rook on the 6th rank, which is right here, this move actually would make some sense to you. Because if we can successfully get this pawn to b5 and then b6, these two pawns right here completely immobilize this rook on their own. And they also force their way through to promotion if you get rid of this rook. So there's definitely some rhyme and reason to it when you are thinking about this rook leaving this 8th rank. And so that is why you see this move b4 being played. We're not worried about this check, but we do see this check on f2. We got the king going up to h3. We do see rook to f7 trying to attack this other rook because, like I said, you know, you want to get these moves in, but at the moment, if you do go into this trade right here, you do not have the time to create that type of a structure. Just showing you what I mean. If you have this situation, you absolutely cannot do this because, I mean, then you're just good to go as black, right? So you would have had to have waited at least 2 tempi to attempt something like that for that to be successful. So that is why we do not see that. We do see rook to f7, and then we see repeating of moves, trying to entice a trade, but we don't get the trade in. And it is after this position that the players have drawn by 3-fold repetition. So it was a very, very nice, interesting game. I like the roller coaster up and down. These are definitely the types of draws that I like to show. I don't like to show like those prearranged draws. I don't like to show like, you know, the Berlin draws, like the draws where everybody's like always doing the same draw. Like, so these where both players literally have chances to win, like that's what I like to see, man. And I think you guys like to see it too. But I appreciate everybody very much for coming by. Maraming salamat na king makaibigan po sa nanonood inga king my video. I don't even have it right now, man, but I did. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it in the future. I'll probably maybe wait till next year, but I'm gonna get you know, Happy New Year to y'all, you know what I'm saying? In there, man. But mabuting pagbati to you, ingat lagi. And anybody who is coming from France, I would say merci beaucoup, mon ami, or mes amis. C'est me fait plaisir de te voir. I appreciate seeing you guys very much. It's my pleasure again. And that's all I know in Farsi. I mean, I know Man KelvinLoveJr, like I think, right? Man KelvinLoveJr. Yeah, I am Kelvin. Yeah. I think that's correct. Anyways, I appreciate you guys very much, and I'm going to see you guys next time.